Hey guys, good to see you. I'm going to get you promoted here as quick as I can, so hang on tight. Gina, good to see you. Julie, good to see you. Catherine, good to see you. Liz, Betty, let's see, Liz, Rob Perot, good to see you, buddy. Susan, Talisha, good to see you. Welcome aboard. Ojas, good to see you. All right, Gil, good to see you, buddy. Kendra, good to see you. Okay, we'll give everybody a chance to get set up here.
Hello.
Hey, hello. I'm going to give you a heads up somewhere along the line here in the next little while. I got to slip off, but I'll come back. I've got bread right.
You know what the penalty is for that?
You'll have to come over if you want to get a slice of the bread that's got to go in the oven.
Well, we know where each other lives, so. Actually, I was just up there last weekend with my mom, and right. I'll be back up again. Her birthday is April 22nd, and then of course Easter is the Sunday before. So, in fact, I'll do that. Next time I'm out there for more than just a couple of days, I'll give you a buzz, and maybe you, me, and Rob and Tom can get together.
Sure, that'd be good.
Yep.
All right, I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay, I appreciate that. For those of you who don't know, Kathy literally lives in the same town as my mom, which is really, really not, the odds of that are like infinite, you know? So, any case, we know all the backcountry roads. Let's see here. Laura, good to see you. Kevin, good to see you, buddy. And Melanie, good to see you. And I think I'm caught up. So if you're on, but you're not, you can't see yourself, you've been promoted, just have to click the camera button or video button on your screen. And if that doesn't work, let me know and I'll promote you again. And we will get started here in just a minute. Tonight's subject is, we're going to get listings, and we're going to make this a working session, okay? So what I mean by that is, I'm going to actually create files for some of you, all right? And I'm going to give you assignments. There's things you have to do. You know, you got to meet me halfway, but I'm gonna take the journey with you. It's more critical now than ever. You know, I don't know if Heather Price, if she can make it, it'd be a great testimony of what I'm talking about. I know she's got an appointment, so we might not see her, but we had a one-on-one today, and she has 2 listings. And we were just discussing how much easier it is right now to have the listings, right? As opposed to working with the buyers. And she's like, you know, dreading working with the next buyer because she knows she's going to take them out. They'll look at 3 houses and they'll pick one and there's going to be 10 offers on it, you know? Mm-hmm. So wouldn't it be so much better if you're the one with the listing? Then you don't have to worry about buyers. The buyers come to you, you know? It puts you in control. There's an old saying in real estate that goes back to the beginning, 1908. The person that controls the listings controls the market, okay? If you control the inventory, you control the market. And it's as true today as it was 114 years ago. It will always be true. Now, I know markets shift. Obviously, we're in a seller's market now. And next thing you know, we'll be in a buyer's market. And people might question that logic, but the logic is still there. You know, if you've got the listings, you're in control. So we're going to really dig deep on this and make this an actual working session. Hang on, I've got a few more promotions. Hang on one second, guys. And what's interesting is this is the hard work.
Susan asked if you.
What's that?
I said Susan asked to vote her again. She missed clicking the button.
Thank you, Gina. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, have any of you seen the series Marco Polo? I think it's on Netflix. It came out, I don't know, what, 5 years ago or something? Awesome. I mean, it's, you know, very graphic. but Gil, you remember that he kept, Kubla Khan kept saying that, you know, he wants to know who's going to do the hard thing. That's who he chooses to be at his side, as far as leaderships, his spouse, whatever. the person that does the hard thing is going to get the goodies. And that's what we're in right now with listings. You got to do the hard thing. But boy, does it pay off in spades. Okay. So in any case, before we get into it, does anybody have any questions or anything you'd specifically like to see tonight or accomplish? Because yeah, we're gonna make this a working. So you're gonna learn from it. It's going to be a working session. Okay. So
I'd like to see ways to get listings, like kind of unique ways to get them.
Okay. So you mean like on the lead origination part of it, or further along, like when you're actually meeting with people and the things they say at the very beginning?
Lead generation part. How do I get the appointment? What's some good ways to go get that are maybe different?
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about a few fundamentals here. Right now, would everybody agree when it comes to traditional properties, owner occupied properties, residential? Are we all in agreement that right now the most common objection is, where am I going to go? If I sell my house, where am I going to go? Yep. It doesn't matter where you are. That's the most common objection right now. Okay.
Yes.
So that's true for owner occupants, but what type of owner does not have that objection? Well, who owns properties who would not have that objection? What type of owner?
An investor.
Investors. Yep. Now, what's interesting is I've taught this, guys, for years. I mean, over 24,000 people I taught, literally in person. And as soon as I talk about investors, 90% of agents go, "Oh no, those guys they make all these crazy offers. They drive me crazy, and cheap properties, no money down." And I would say for you that was true, because that's probably their marketing or their lack of marketing led to them getting those types of clients. What I learned to do early on, this is what I want you to please write down. And it's one of my favorite. I can claim credit for the saying, which is this: the clients you're working with and the transactions you're working on are a direct result of the marketing you're doing or the lack thereof. Okay. So if you're not doing intentionally marketing to specific groups of people, you're at the whims of the marketplace. You're going to get whoever comes your way. That's like having an accidental business. Okay. So, and I'm going to kind of get real practical here. So what I recognize is you might imagine, I kept track of everything. I mean, I just literally kept track of every detail, every client, every transaction. I had a filing system, a physical file system that matched my computer system. All right. And these are all things I really encourage you to do too, is really get really intentional about your business. Okay. And one of the benefits of doing that is I recognized who my most profitable clients were, right? In other words, to me, who was bringing me the most profits? And I recognized there were 7 groups of people, right? So this was all in the training, but I'm gonna give it to you here now, because this is the kind of stuff that's going to make everything else make more sense that we're going to cover tonight. So those groups, you've heard me mention dentists before. Absolutely, dentists, one of the best. They're business owners. They're entrepreneurial, and a lot of them, if you look at demographics of people who invest, I bet you there's a larger percentage of dentists who invest than almost any other demographic, any other vocation. I'm almost certain of it, because that was my experience. And I've talked to other people too, and they said the same thing. Dentists like to invest. In fact, 2 of the best dentist podcasts I've been on, and both of those guys were investors. So dentists, and I'm not going to dwell as much on the other groups, but engineers, awesome. And guess how many different types of engineers there are in the world? Just shout out. Guess what you think it is?
No idea.
Hundreds.
452.
Wow.
And growing. 452 different types of engineers, So engineers, would you agree, are generally pretty good at doing analysis and making good decisions, They generally do. So engineers,
good decisions, but the analysis.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the trick, is you gotta really work with them, and they'll see. Engineers are famous for taking their time on the first one, only to find out they got beat out. And then they speed things up on the second one. You know, I can't tell how many times, guys, in my career, I had people wait too long, and I just want to like pull my hair out. Like, you guys don't understand. And sure enough, they get beat out and they don't learn a lesson. So I'll learn to be patient and let them. I used to say this stuff. I said, look, let's do it your way this time, and then we'll do it my way next time. If that's an agreement, then we'll work together. Yeah. And sure enough, every time that happened, they'd come back and move quickly the second time and believe what I was saying. So engineers, chiropractors was a great group. Chiropractors, not as good as a dentist, but pretty good. You know, again, entrepreneurial. They understand marketing and things like that. Teachers was a great group. Okay, again, not as profitable as the others, but teachers they like to do a lot themselves. So when they do flips, they'll like do everything themselves. You know, and by the way, public servants who are married to each other. Like, I had a lot of clients where the wife was a teacher and the husband was a policeman or fireman. And as a team, they make great teams, great investment teams. And by the way, that's another category. It's like firemen / policemen, you know, first responders, firemen, and collectively with policemen make great investors. I can't tell any policemen I met who invest. In fact, in Keller Williams, one of the area directors, now he's a regional director, John Kleide, he and I became good friends. He was a New Jersey state trooper and was able to, God bless you, Susan, was able to leave the police force because he was investing in real estate, and he got his license while he was a policeman, right? I know at least a half dozen, in fact, on my team, Tony Moore's a policeman, okay? So policemen, firemen. Okay, another great group is pilots. Pilots are definitely, they're like cowboys. I mean, they're aggressive. You talk about decision makers, those guys are fast. And they have to be. Think about it. They're up in a plane and they get this, you know, emergency thing going on in the cockpit. Do you think they have time to go read a manual and, oh, let's have a committee? No, it's like instant decisions. And they make, and they're good. They're good. I like working with them. They're fun too. By the way, if you ever want to have fun, go hang out with some pilots. Or invite them to your party, you know. But they've told me some things I wish I didn't know about airlines. Now I don't like to fly anymore. So pilots, military is another awesome group. Retired military, active duty military. So let's see, we got dentists, engineers, chiropractors, teachers, firemen, policemen, pilots, and military. So that's the 7 groups, okay? And that's not in order, but dentists, I would say, is definitely at the top of the heap, okay? All right. Now, I'm going to give you a strategy that's not necessarily directly related to getting listings, but it does help. It helps you land these people as clients. And what it involves is you have to do some research and find out what associations do these folks belong to. Clearly, there's teacher associations. There's definitely dental associations, right? Chiropractor associations, associations, Fraternal Order of Police. There's policemen associations, or firemen associations, military. You know, there's all kinds of groups out there that cater to the military and retired military. Engineers, bunches of engineering organizations and associations, okay? All of them have them. I know because I've looked them up. By the way, here's a really good tip for you. If you want to really dig deep, and it's could cost a little bit of money sometimes, but there's actually an organization called the Association of Associations. It's executives. And I got in there years ago, and I was able to find some of the member associations that made their rosters available online. I didn't have to pay for them. I just went in and copied them, grabbed them. Now, some of them you got to become a member and pay your annual dues and things like that. But the point is in this business, boy, you've got to work with people with money if you want to make money. And with investors, this is extremely critical because you're going to see a lot of those no money down, low down, owner financing, all that kind of stuff. They're out there. I used to be one, okay? And I learned very quickly that type of investing, while it was working, was a slow train, really slow. All right, because think about it. How many, especially right now in today's market, it's a seller's market. How many owners are going to be thrilled if I approach them and say, gee, I'd like to buy your property and I want you to finance me. I want you to do some owner financing. And it's a seller's market. What do you think your odds of success are?
Slim to none.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying those techniques don't work. They definitely do work. I'm living proof of it. But there's a time and place for every type of technique. So that chapter we went into the other week, creative purchasing techniques. The thing to do with that chapter is to, when you study those techniques, ask yourself, what type of a market would this technique work in? Okay, and be strategic about it. So now, back full swing to the subject tonight. Why would we join these associations as vendors? Because we want to meet these people and have them as our prospects and our clients. So when they do come to sell a property, we're the one they're going to use, okay? And also, of course, when they buy something else, we're the one they're going to use. And I'm telling you, it's one of the easiest things you can do. And I always use my latest experience, which was now a couple of years ago, but when I was in San Diego, one of my students up in Orange County, Anaheim, wanted to join a local association. I said, and we did it just like this. I said, let's just go on Google right now. Let's see what's happening in Orange County. So I Googled Orange County Dental Association and Orange County Chiropractors Association. And guess what? The Chiropractor Association had a dinner in 2 weeks. So I said, Cedric, I'm going to do you a big favor here. This was like January. I said, I had a good Christmas. Santa Claus was good to me. I'm going to buy the tickets for both of us. And I'm going to drive the 2 hours up there, meet you, and take you to dinner at the Chiropractors Association quarterly dinner. He walked out of there with 9 contacts, authentic, genuine name, number, email, the real deal. And all I did is I said, look, we're not gonna go in there loaded for bear. We're not gonna come in with a bunch of booklets and all the usual stuff. I said, I just want you to meet people, shake their hand, get to know them, ask them questions. Where's your practice? How many practices do you have? Do you own, and here's a good question, do you own the real estate that your practice is in? You think that might be a good question? Do you own the real estate that your practice is in? Okay, and guess what? We found out that people would say, well, I own this building here and this building there and that building there. We knew right away that was our guy. So what I did is I sat at the table with all the old farts, chewing the fat with them. And of course they asked me, who am I, what do I do? And I would tell them, I'm Gary Wilson. I teach real estate agents how to work with us investors. I'm an investor too, just like some of you guys. They look at me and say, really? And I say, well, who have you ever bought a rental before? Yeah, we got rentals. We've done flips too. Things like that. And I'll say, do you have anybody around here who does that? And I can point across the room and say, yep, he's right there. His name's Cedric Farrell. You should talk to him because he's really good. I know he's good because I trained him. So, awesome. and I'll tell you guys, I'm getting the itch to travel again, and I'm not afraid. If I'm coming anywhere near you guys, I mean, but let's make something like this happen because it works. It definitely helps if you tag team with somebody because you can, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, and to loosely come up with an analogy, you've heard of the phrase a wingman, being somebody's wingman? I'm not advocating going out to the bars and stuff like that, but that's the same type of theory. You can support somebody in a passive role, just like vice president. Vice president supports the president. So in any case, I would really encourage you to pick one of those 7 vocations that you feel somewhat connected to. Maybe your mom was a nurse, your dad was in the Army, who knows? There's probably some connection for you. So it could be a neighbor, right? Could be a best friend, it could be somebody at church. But think of a connection that you already have, because I'm pretty sure, actually, let's do a quick test here. If you run down the list of the 7 people we just described there, the 7 vocations, raise your hand if you can think of at least one person that you know that's in either one of those vocations. Yeah, probably everybody knows at least one, sometimes even more. So, and if let's say you just moved to where you are, okay? You just moved to, I don't know, somewhere, Greensboro, North Carolina, okay? And you don't know anybody there. I would make an appointment to go to the dentist. Ask people, hey, who's a good dentist around here? Look them up in a phone book. See who has multiple dental offices, okay? Make an appointment, go see them. and build yourself a relationship with a dentist and get your teeth fixed at the same time, you know? But chances are you do know somebody, a teacher, you know, chiropractor. Half the people in the world seems like are going to chiropractors anymore. And approach them, call them up on the phone, and if the receptionist answers saying, I'm a patient of Dr. Jacobson, I'd like to ask her a question when you have a moment, okay? Or when she has a moment. It's kind of private, you know, and you'll get a call sometime later from Miss Jacobson, the dentist. And then you can say, you know, I'm a patient of yours. I just wanted to ask your favor, all right? I'm a realtor, and I work with investors. I'm a certified investor agent. We're very rare. There's not that many of us, okay? I'm trained to know how to identify, analyze, and negotiate on and off market properties. Okay, I'm gonna slow down here a little bit, let you catch up. And then you can tell them about your booklet. Say, I'm creating a booklet just for dentists, other dentists just like you, who invest. And all I want is your opinion. Could I please send this to you and ask you for your feedback? That's all I'm asking for. I'm not suggesting you buy or sell anything. I trust you and I value your judgment, and I'm just looking for your feedback, okay?
Gary, can I interrupt for a sec?
Yeah.
Can you promote some people, sweetie?
Can I come up with people?
Promote. You can come up with
people. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Can you promote also?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're very welcome.
I have a question, Gary.
Yes.
So with the booklet, when we're putting together that booklet, how do you do so when I don't have any deals that I put together for investors?
Yep. Yeah, you don't have to, Kendra. Great question too, and thank you. So I'm going to go into the dashboard here. Hopefully a little more quickly than the computer's going. We're going to go into the market. And by the way, anybody on here who's an investor yourself, almost every one of these techniques came from the world of investing, from investors like me. I didn't create these things after I got into real estate brokerage. I brought them with me in the real estate brokerage. This is stuff I did as an investor too, you know? And I've worked with a lot of other investors I've taught to do this thing, because remember, before I taught real estate brokerage, I taught investors, okay? So in any case, let's look at the booklet here. And the short answer, Kendra, is what you want to do is you want to grab properties from your MLS, and preferably sold properties that are already sold. So if you go into the booklet campaign and you download the booklet for dentists, it has samples of flips in there. And you want to use flips that have already gone through the complete cycle, you know, purchase, remodeling, and resale, right? And that way you have before and after images in that booklet, okay? And then if you do one for rentals, it's easy because you just look for rentals that sold. Most MLS databases, the rentals have their own little category, their own separate category. So what you're looking for, Kendra, is not ones you did, but ones that occurred in your marketplace that you can showcase. Because remember, the booklet here, the purpose is not to sell properties directly from the booklet. The purpose of the booklet is to get people's attention, okay? So if you want to work with flippers, build a booklet showing flips in the area. Then you can send it out and say, how'd you like to flip a home like this, you know? Or here's a really neat trick right now. We've been doing this the last couple of years. Locate a neighborhood that you think is ripe for getting some listings. People have owned them for 30 years, that kind of thing. Give them these booklets with samples of flips and say, look, historically, a flipper would come by your house, they'd remodel it, and they'd sell it for profit. What we're suggesting you do, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, is we can connect you with the right contractor, and I'll help you figure out how to flip your own home. You do the remodeling and you sell it for more money than you would get right now, okay? And by the way, there are contractors that would do that deal. They would partner with them, and the contractor would foot the bill for the labor and material to get a share of the increased profits. Everybody follow me on that? Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It's an excellent idea in today's market. This one for engineers, I'm pretty sure has rentals in it, Kendra. These are to the geographic, like Newport News and New York City. The one up here, though, the one that's a doc, that's the actual original Word document. And it is, I think it's plain ugly. And I can say that honestly because I created it. And you look at these others, this one here, the one for dentists, is far superior than the one I'm giving you. Well, what I'm giving you is a template to work with, and you have to build it out and put the samples in there and things like that. So Kendra, sorry for the long answer, but does that help you get more clarity on that?
Yeah, it really does. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You ask all the questions you want. So,
thank you.
Yep. So what's cool? Yeah, go ahead.
Laura has her hand up, and I don't know if you answered her question before and I missed it, but
oh, Laura Janvier. Laura, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Whoop, sorry. Unmute yourself again.
Hi, Gary. I had a question about something regarding like just real estate and open housing. Like I know you said about the booklet, like as a new agent, how do I utilize like the workplace and the work chat to like get an open house for an agent that has a listing?
Open house? Yeah.
Yes.
If you, I think there might be a workplace page for that. Hang on a second. Let me go see. Let's go into workplace. By the way, did you guys know that there's a function you can use called vacation buddies? So if you're in an area where you don't have many people around you, many other agents, or did you don't know, you can use vacation buddies to get somebody to come and show houses for your clients while you're away, and you have to work some arrangement in advance. So let's see if we can find an open house.
Sorry, I know this was off topic from the booklet.
That's okay. So here's a bunch of them. Here's Central Florida open houses, Metro Detroit or Texas, PA, San Diego, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Maryland.
Laura, there's not one in your area. Are those on Facebook, Gary, or Workplace?
This is Workplace. Yep.
There is one in my area, but like okay. Maybe I'm not as consistent, but I do post on there sometimes and ask people, but then no one gets back to me.
All right. Well, I tell you what, do the direct approach. When you see open houses pop up, or if you would create a search for yourself for active listings in your area. So you get them as soon as they pop up, just in your zip code. And as soon as they pop up, Laura, get on the phone and call them and say, would it be okay if I did an open house for you in your listing? Just be real direct, And I know people still today that do open houses, and they're very selective. They will go to the ones that are, $500,000, because they want to get those buyers also, And you never know. Some neighbor might be there, and you meet them, and they say, "Well, I'll tell you what, now that I see this house, I'd like to sell mine too." Open houses was never my strong suit. I just didn't like them,
I have an idea. It's something that I've done. So I would, I reached out to Icon agents in my area, and usually they have a lot of listings, and they can't do them all at one time. So contacting them personally and letting them know asking them when they get a new listing, if they wouldn't mind having you do the open house for them.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, anything like that, Laura, they hope to be more direct. As a matter of fact, the key word for tonight is going to be direct. How about bold? B-O-L-D. We'll use bold.
Yes.
Be bold. Do not hold back. I mean, you've got to get past your fear. Who was it that they we're talking about the first phone call? Was it Betty or Desmond? I think it might have been Betty or Heather. It was Heather. She's so used to it now. She knows. It's like she developed a habit of doing that first phone call, get it right out of the way. Yep. And can I get an amen on that? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
For sure. It gets easier after that.
Amen.
And I tell you, what I used to tell myself was, you know what? I'm gonna anticipate this first one is not going to work. That's why I want to get out of the way. That's what I would tell myself. It's not going to work. Let's just get out of the way so we can get to the ones that will work. You know. Now I know this sounds crazy, but allow me to get out of my get out of my head and make the phone call. Okay, let me get back to where I was on the so on the booklet. There's so many variations of the booklet, and it's generally designed for you to brand yourself and create relationships and nurture relationships. You want to update it every month, and always keep some of these with you. Keep at least 10 printed versions with you. But more importantly, make sure it's online and Google Drive so you can send a link for it out to people. We talked about that just the other week. But you can use it to get listings too. It just depends on how you word things, right? So there are there's some other things here I want to show you guys. Let me go to my email real quick here. Let's see. Flyer and booklet.
Is there an investor book that we can write in the same way that they have the other open source content for those other books?
Yes, let me go there. I believe that there is, and let me go find here.
Oh, thank you.
So if you go into books, something's missing here. Where's the oh, maybe it's members ebooks. I'm sorry.
And then for the people who weren't on that meeting, can you explain what you're talking about, what Melanie's talking about?
Yes. So
Thank
these,
you, Don.
yeah, these books, as far as I know, I definitely know these last two are called public source or public domain open source books that anybody can take and publish. You can even put your name on it, but you do have to give a site what's called a citation. Citation means you're going to cite the source of the material. So you have to give credit to whoever provided the source material to you. It always will be in there. In any case, I believe this is the one you're referring to, Melanie. Yeah. Real estate investing, everything you need to know. And you can take that and repurpose it, republish it. Now, if you guys want to write this down, on April the 18th, Deanie Stevens, who basically did all my editing and publishing for I don't know how many years now, 7 books and 6 training programs, is going to teach a class for us on Monday, April 18th, on how to actually create your own book and get it published in the whole 9 yards. It's not nearly as expensive as you might think it is. I recommend using her because I know if she does it, it's going to get done correctly. And if I do it myself, it's going to look like a kindergartner did it, you know, and you want your material to look professional. So you guys have seen some of my stuff. I couldn't paint a square wall if my life depended on it, you know. you don't ever want me painting. Let me tell you. I can do some other things, but not painting. So in any case, here's why this is important. Look at the subjects. 7 reasons why now is a great time to buy a home. Only 8 steps to a home. Real estate investing, everything you need to know. Pretty generic title. Big book for the serious buyer, big book for the serious seller. You know, at a minimum, I would at least do these 2, right? And instead of you handing out a business card wherever you go, keep some of these books with you, right? And when somebody asks you for your contact information, say, you know, I'll tell you what, I don't have cards with me, but here, I'm going to give you one of my books. You don't have to pay for it, and I'm going to sign it for you, and I'll put my phone number in there. Would you mind providing me your contact information so I can follow up? You always got to, boy, that's paramount. You've got to get their information. Them getting your information doesn't really matter. What matters is you getting their information. You want to give them something of value so they don't put it in a drawer and forget about it. They're not going to throw this away. Chances are they're going to put it on a coffee table maybe for a few days while they're trying to read it. It might be end up in the bathroom, you know, right? So, but the point is this is the kind of stuff that has sticky power. Okay. So, in any case, by the way, speaking of sticky power, I actually met an agent in Michigan one time. He told me he actually took the little yellow notes, the little yellow stickies, and put them, like 2 or 3 of them or 6 or whatever, in strategic places in his book. to highlight, not some, he would, and then he'd go to that page and he'd circle a thing he wanted to highlight. And on every page, or that page or the next page over, had a block that said, to discuss this in detail, contact me. Here's my email and here's my phone number. He did that strategically throughout the book. Okay. Who thinks that might be a really ingenious idea?
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Put it, and what you're doing here now is you're trying to establish yourself a really good, solid relationship based on trust and respect. And they want to, in order for them to do business with you, they need to know you, like you, and trust you. Okay. And when you provide a book like that, it definitely helps you stand out from the crowd. Now, I want to go to the next thing I was going to show you, which is this. And I think Mo might be on. Mo, are you on tonight? Madupe? So I might have to promote some more people. Hang on one second. Let's see if Mo's on.
Hey, Gary.
There's Mo. Hey, Mo.
Hey.
Mo, is it okay if I showcase your flyer you did last summer?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So guys, there's 2 flyers here. All right. Actually, one's more of a booklet, but one's a flyer. Let's start with the flyer here. This is from David Edwards. All right. And I think I've sent this out to about 1 million people, but you can, what I'll do is I'll send this to Beverly and she can include this in tomorrow's email. So you can take this and just clone it. So this is David's 2-page back and 1 page back and front, excuse me. Contact information right up front. Okay. Now, you want to be very specific in these types of flyers because you're going to actually give them real data, actual data on their neighborhood. Okay. So if they give them the date range, if you see this as a quarterly one, 11/1 to 2/1, right? Active single family homes. And look, there's none available. How about that for emphasis? Okay. This is the strongest seller's market in 20 years for free obligation, home evaluation, call, text, right? Then it gives the data so people can see the what's under contract. There's nothing active. There are several under contract in this example, okay? And then he goes into what's sold. You can see the sold list is smaller than the pending list. But you can see what people listed them for and sold them for, okay? Now at the end, check this out. He emphasizes it again. We're truly one of the most unique sellers markets in the history, record low inventory, and record low interest rates. If you've been considering selling your home now, is a great time to get a thorough, free, no obligation home evaluation. Now today, you could even say something like this. Interest rates just jumped up. It went a full point, didn't it, guys? Didn't it go up a full point? Yeah. That's dramatic, you know? I mean, on a percentage basis, let's say it was 4% and went to 5%, that's a 20% increase, 25% increase, actually, excuse me, you know? But in any case, and there you go, and there's, and he says it again, free, no obligation, home evaluation. From what I remember, he did a couple of rounds of this and he got 2 listings out of it, okay? So we like to call this what I call the walkabout. So let me explain the walkabout to you. This is the type of thing you definitely want to hand out in person, okay? I'm telling you, you can send in the mail, but I guarantee you will not get the results you would get if you simply walked around and handed out in person. And I don't even care if it's snowing outside. Put on some boots, put on your coat, and hand this thing out, okay? Now, I know some people are here right now thinking, boy, you know, I don't want to do any door knocking. And I agree with you. You don't have to. Here's what we do, okay? You want to do this on a day when people are most likely to be out, shoveling snow, washing the car, playing with the kids outside, walking the dog, what have you, raking leaves, okay? Which is typically going to be Saturdays or Sundays, right? And you should test your market and see. You should try it on Saturday this time and Sunday next time, and you compare the results. And people have done that on the team. Heather Price did it. She's discovered Sunday afternoon. No, hers was Saturday. Sorry, Saturday morning. David's was Sunday afternoon. That's what it was. His best time was Sunday afternoon. So you got to test it out. You got to really get intentional about this stuff. And I mean, deadly serious, intentional about this to nail it, get it right. You got to watch what's happening and keep track of what's happening. But in any case, here's the walkabout. we actually don't knock on any doors. If we go to a house where nobody's outside, we simply leave it in the storm door. There's no storm door, then you put it between the doorknob and the jamb, okay? Or you know what David did? In his neighborhood where he did his, you got to pick your neighborhood. Okay? You got to do a good job picking the neighborhood. He would go around to the side, and wherever there was a man door by the garage door, right? He knew people would see it when they drove up. And if there wasn't a man door, he would tape it with blue painting tape on the garage door, so people would see it when they come to hit the garage door button, right? But if there was a man door, he would tape it to the doorknob with blue. Here's why you blue painter's tape, because it doesn't peel off any paint or anything like that. It's easy adhesive. So that was a neat trick. Now, if people are there, let's say someone is there, all you do is you walk up and say, hi, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Gary Wilson. I am a realtor, but more importantly, I live in this area and I have a sincere interest in this neighborhood. I've always liked it here. And I've got clients right now, we cannot find anything for them. It's crazy. So I did my research and I got all the data on this neighborhood. I'm going to here's your copy. It's totally free. You don't have to sell anything or buy anything. I just want to give this information to you and help out the neighborhood because I'm one of you, right? And if you do it that way, you're generally going to get at least a favorable response. They're not all going to say, gee, I'm so glad you're here. I want to sell my house today. But I tell you what, the ones that start asking you questions, those are the ones you spend time with, okay? Because they're thinking about it. They would not be asking questions if they weren't thinking about selling. Everybody follow me on this? Okay? If they don't ask questions at all, like, hey, thank you very much. I got to get back to what I'm doing. Let them go. Don't try to force them into a conversation. Only thing you might say there is, would you mind if from time to time, provide an updated information like that's, I'll be doing this once a month. And usually they'll say, yes, sure, that's fine. Okay. Never take that as a no. It just means not today. But here's some key things to look out for in this technique. If they ask, what did the Wilson's house or sell for around the corner? That's considered a key indicator that they're thinking about it. But what would be an even better key indicator? If they ask about whose house?
Their own.
Their own house. What do you think this house would sell for? That is a key indicator. Now, what I recommend is before you jump up and down and say, yeah, I got one. Okay. Do this. Say, I tell you what, I want to do this the right way. Let me finish what I'm doing. I'll go home and I'll pull data specifically for you, just for you in your house. Is it okay if I bring it back later today? Is that okay? Now, if it was me, I'd be aggressive like that. Some of you might want to say, well, can I come back Monday night or Tuesday night? You can do that approach. You can say, what works best for you, Monday night or Tuesday night? Okay. Don't ever, how do I say this? You want to maintain control of the conversation. That's why you ask a question like that. What's best for you, Monday night or Tuesday night? But don't give them 5 choices. Please write that down. If you say, hey, I'm free, Monday at 4 and Tuesday at 3 and Wednesday at 7, and you're going to lose them. Just say what works best for you Monday or Tuesday evening. But if you really want to see the test of waters, ask them, say, look, would you mind if I took a few hours, finish what I'm doing? I'll gather data for you. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'd like to come back later today before dark. Is that okay? It'll only take a few minutes. And do it that. Why would I want to do it that way as opposed to waiting until Monday or Tuesday?
Strike when it's hot and see if they're serious.
Amen. Yep. Strike while the iron's hot. You're testing to see how serious they are, But if they say, really, we're going to have dinner, we're going out, whatever, that's fine. Then you can say what works best Monday or Tuesday. But I'm here to tell you, from 36 years experience, time can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Okay? As time goes on, people get cold feet. It happens all the time. We do it, right? We see something we really like this makes total sense. I got to have this thing. And then you go home, you sleep on it, you wake up, and all of a sudden it doesn't have the same luster anymore. Anybody ever had that happen before?
Hey, Gary, can I add one thing to your flyer?
Yep.
I was coaching with one of our agents today who was going to door knock with this concept of the flyer. And I told him, I said, just plus one more thing on there. And that is and get real numbers. On average, we're seeing homes in this area that sell for 20,000, 15,000, 50,000, name your number, over asking. And added that part in. I'm like, use an actual dollar amount. This is what we're seeing. So we added that in, and then we started it off with, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but there are no homes for sale in your neighborhood. And we started with that one, and then went basically into that whole entire flyer and ended with the other one.
Yeah, I agree. One thing on a flyer, flyers are generally meant to be like front and back. I mean, you could do like a trifold kind of thing, do the 8.5 by 14, right? And make a trifold. But what I found out with flyers is you want to keep it concise. That's if you start to get too much stuff in there, you might lose a little bit of responses. But stuff like that is extremely important. Like here, like David says right here, none available. There's no listings, But if it was, well, I would have said no listings. There are no active listings on the market, something like that, But that's okay. It worked. The bottom line is this one worked. Right? So, okay, you guys like this one? Yep.
Yes.
Now, before we move on to the next one, what's really critical here is the selection of the neighborhood. So, I'm, of course, Mr. Nerd over here. So what I used to do is I would do the research. I'd literally look at county records and things like that. I would buy the county data and sort it by all different kinds of ways. And one way I would sort it was the last sold date. And I would look for neighborhoods where there was a higher percentage of properties that haven't sold for a long time. People live there 20, 25, 30 years. And I would target those, okay? And what are you likely to find? What type of demographic would you likely find in a neighborhood where the average home's been owned more than 25 years? What's one common demographic?
Age.
Retired.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kids are probably gone to college, maybe out of college, and they're sitting there in that house in the neighborhood, and you can see clearly it's 30-year-old neighborhood. So in today's market, I might actually customize this flyer just a wee little bit to speak to that demographic, and I would say something like, have you owned your house for more than a quarter century, right? And then say, did you know right now is one of the best times in history to try to be selling a house, that kind of thing. David actually said that in here somewhere. But that's what I would do, okay?
We can pull that with Really Flow, right? We can pull that.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
we can pull like a renter list also and peg if that's a high renter neighborhood.
Yep. So you can go in here, property leads. So who wants me to create a file for you? Anybody want me to create a file for you right here on the spot? How about a guest? Do we have any guests?
We do have.
Hey, Melanie, give me a zip code.
78628.
Okay. And let's do the long-term owner. There it is. And let's just do shingles. Hey, Melanie, is that more of a single family home area, or is there a mixture of townhomes and condos too?
More probably single family. I should have given you another phone. Let's do 78759 instead for the zip code, please.
Okay, 78759.
And then do single family, please.
Yep. So I hope I did it right. Yeah, single family, long-term owner.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we get here. So this is 25 years of ownership or more. The other option, you can choose to do 10 years of ownership or more. This one's 25 years or more. So, chances are these people are thinking about it, they're looking ahead and whoa.
Nice.
You got a good one, 483.
Excellent.
Okay, so let me get rid of these old ones and I'm going to save this for you. Hey, Melanie, do you have the link for Ansa Khalil?
I don't think so. I don't know.
She's the Fiverr, the skip tracing lady that we use.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I'll put it in the chat box.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so let me save this first. I hate it when it does this. I can't, my the box down here is in the way of me hitting the down.
Oh, gotcha. I hate that.
Hey, how can I get rid of that?
I don't know.
Let me see if I can make everything move up here. I don't want to shut everything down. Let me just stop share for just a second.
Yeah.
And I'll go back.
What happens if you adjust your screen size? Maybe that'll do it.
Yeah,
oh yeah, it's up a little bit on your screen.
Okay.
That's brilliant, Kathy.
Once in a while.
Oh, yeah. So Melanie, I'm gonna actually I've got to save that. Let me open up a new session here. Compose. Now, Melanie, I'm just curious. Is that neighborhood? Are you familiar enough? Do you know how old would you say, or when was that neighborhood developed? Do you think, like approximately when was it developed?
That area would encompass several different neighborhoods, but I didn't quite see where that map pulled those leads for. But I had one area in mind where I know that people have been staying there for years. So I wanted to say that they had in the 70s.
Okay. All right, let me attach this real quick. And
hey, Gary, while we're on this step, do you think you could show us how to dump this into KV Core, this list, when you get it?
I don't know how to do that, but there might be somebody on the call who does. So is anybody on the call who's and I've been in KV Core, but I haven't actually uploaded a file.
If you download it into a CVS file, the KV Core will actually help you to upload it into your KV Core.
That's actually right.
Yeah, they'll actually do it for you.
Does it come as a CVS file from Anesk, whatever her name is?
Well, what this here is that I just downloaded for Melanie, that actually is a CVS file.
Okay.
So what you would do, you would send that to ENSA, and she'll give you the numbers and emails, and then you give that to KV Core. So let's go into KV Core here real quick. Let's see, enterprise. In most systems, like I've had, Infusionsoft, I've had Top Producer, I've had, what did I used to have back at KW? It was Before Command. Melanie, what did we use before Command? I'm trying to remember.
Edge.
Edge. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. There was even some other ones we had contracts with through KW. It was
Market
some
Leader.
of the yes. Thank you. Okay. I'm glad you guys are around because you're helping me remember everything. Okay, so Susan, I'm just going to see what the function is, where it is, and then there should be an option that says, okay, so let's see, playbooks, all contacts. Hey, Kendra, was that you that was telling me we could, the KV Core would load it for you?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It was me. They will. Mm-hmm.
So do you know where I go here to click, like to upload records? Let me see, brand call, loop, transactions, webinar, business. Well, there's a support right there, but it seems to me like it'd be under contacts. So if we go to contacts, add contact. I'm going to click on that and see if it gives us some options like uploading a block. Okay, I only have an address.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know I did a chat with them and I think they sent me like some type of link or email address and I just sent it to them and then they uploaded it.
So Susan, what I do is I just use this little chat box down here, the bottom right-hand corner.
I just lost my view of where you are, darn it. Okay, so
yeah, lower right-hand corner, it'll be a blue box with a white little smile in there.
Okay.
And a red, in my case, red number 6, and you click on that, and you could just say please provide instructions for uploading a file, a database.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. And they'll do it all for you. It may take 3 days or so, but it's definitely worth it. Hey guys, I just put in the chat box the link for Ansa Khalil, and really easy. It's a Fiverr link. You'll see her screen pop up. You click on the one you want. It just literally just follow the instructions. Okay, now let me see here. If we're back to the flyer, getting a file. Oh, choosing a neighborhood. Now let's say you're around a college or university. When would be a good time to canvass that neighborhood? But there'd be student housing, I'd say right towards the end of the spring semester, and approach the owners and say, look, kids are getting ready to go home. The place is going to be empty for the summer. Might be a really good time now to fix this place up and sell it for profit, So in that case, what search criteria would we use? We wouldn't use long-term owner, but what would we use? What do we call properties that are
Rentals.
owned by people who don't live there? Yeah, absentee owner.
Absentee.
Yep. So if you go in here, you click on the lead types. Absentee owner is the very first one. Now I'm going to give you a secret here. If you drop down to board investor, it's actually two things. It's absentee owner and 10 years of ownership. And I'm going to tell you, just take this as an instruction or a requirement. If you're going to go after the absentee owners, in other words, the investor-owned properties, use board investor because that means they've owned it more than 10 years. I'm pretty sure you have a higher batting average because they might be getting burned out on it. They might be, and we know statistically, more people will sell their investor properties after 10 years. That was my story. It was literally, 10, 12 years, and that was about the range. So think about, remember, think through who you're looking to approach and the types of properties and what would make the most sense criteria-wise. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes. Gary, I have a question.
Yes.
I've been doing some real flow training, and I want to know, do we have access to the AI scores?
We used to, but we didn't realize it was something they were testing out. So let's do that search again. What was that, Melanie?
Oh, 78759.
Okay. Let's just do absentee owner. So what they used to do, Kendra, is we pull this up and then click on a property, and I'll do that here in just a second. Hey, Melanie, you've got a lot of investor-owned properties out there. Some of them could be second homes, maybe I don't know, but there's over 2,000 of them. That would be a big list to try to conquer.
Right.
Yep. So what we used to get, Kendra, is right in here, we'd get the AI score. And they had it in there for like a year, and all of a sudden they dropped it and said, well, now you got to pay for it. But,
yeah.
So I don't know.
$55.
How much?
$55.
Per bank?
I think it's per zip code.
Holy smokes.
Not sure. Yeah, it's 50. I think it's per zip code.
Yeah. Well, it was, when we looked into it, we decided that it just didn't seem like it was worth it. I didn't realize it was per zip code. Obviously, if it was only $55, I just would do it if it's for the whole thing. But there's 3,144 zip codes in the U.S.
How do you know this stuff?
Just all those years of teaching, and for some reason, sometimes it's a curse, but I just remember things, and it just sometimes it even startles me. But then my short-term memories just kapooey. It seems like anymore. So, but I can remember.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you, out of curiosity, be pulling people right now that are delinquent on taxes, or would you be going after some of the other stuff like bank-owned, non-performing bank-owned properties, or would you be waiting on that stuff? Kind of, what's your thoughts on those?
Yep. So good point. So let me go back to the members area here. And if you go to resources, okay, and under resources, there is, click on miscellaneous resources, sorry. You guys liking this session?
Yes.
Good, okay.
Yep.
We used to call this meat and potatoes. Just no theory, just do it, you know. So in this bank tracker, you can search for credit unions or banks. And you don't want to go to failed banks because they're gone. There's nobody there. They got gobbled up by some other bank. But just click on the regular banks one for banks. Okay. Now I happen to notice just in the last week, a dramatic uptick in troubled asset ratios across the board, okay? Remember, the forbearance was lifted back in September. The forbearance being where people could not make a payment for several months and it would get rolled onto the back of their mortgage, okay? And then they got used to not paying their mortgage. Now all of a sudden they got to pay their mortgage again, right? And some of them can't do it. Or worse yet, all those people that have been overpaying, you know, waiving appraisal contingencies, waiving inspections, putting cash on top of loans, and you're getting crazy with their money. You know, the economy's starting to turn. And I'm not an economist, but guys, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm telling you, you know, I could be wrong, and I fully admit that. But based on my experience, when you have the kind of things that are going on right now, it's close to a certain recession as you can possibly. So what you're seeing here, these troubled asset ratios are creeping up. Look at that, 9.69. Last week, these two guys weren't even in existence. It was like 1.92 was the first one, you know. First, you know, 5.45, 11.31, you know, 4.71, you know. Michigan, look at that. Mason Hill, or Illinois, I'm sorry, 10.61. Saginaw, 10.3. By the way, you can type in your city here. So do we have another guest on? Do we have any other guests? I want to.
Talicia's on. Who might want to be under the radar, but I'm going to call her out. She is another guest, Talicia.
Yeah. Hey, Talicia, what's Talicia, what city are you in?
I'm in Charlotte.
Okay.
28269, just in case.
I'm going to do, look at this one. Look at Bank of America, guys. It's already at 3.05%. So I'm going to find one.
That's a lot for today.
Yeah. Well, they've got almost 19 billion in profit. Let's just click on it. Let's just see what we get here. Now, Felicia, I'm going to advise you to not try to contact Bank of America. And the reason is they have huge departments and they outsource this stuff to what's called asset managers, and they're a huge pain in the neck. And right now, you spend so much time trying to get through that maze of, you know, the red tape who to get to. You're going to be better off going to the community banks. I'll show you that in a second. So Bank of America has, look at that, almost 6 billion. Is that billion? That's million. Sorry, 6 million. No, billion. That is 6 billion. 6 billion in REOs right now. Now, that doesn't mean they got them all advertised. Here's what I'm finding out from all the people I know in banking is that they're kind of holding off on filing right now as much as they can because the courts are still catching up from the pandemic. The courts are behind up to 18 months in some states. So bankers know this. If they file today, they know they can't get a hearing until 18 months from now. A lot can happen in 18 months. They're not going to waste their money. Don't let the court cases shrink down to where they have maybe about 3 months out, and then they'll file. So we're going to have this shadow inventory building up, which is what's happening. And then you factor in a recession, and believe me, I hope, you know, actually, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say, let's plan for and prepare for a recession, whether it happens or not. Well, let's say it does happen. Now you're going to have more inventory going on top of that. So this is just my opinion. I think we're going to have some bank inventory come down here in the next couple of years. But here's the clincher of this. Look at the loan loss provisions. They've already spent over $4 billion covering bad debt. They're negative $4 billion. Okay, that's a spread of about $10 billion right now between the REOs already on the books and the negative lost loan provision balance. That's ridiculous, So
when you get done looking at
last time
today,
around,
I'm sorry, continue on, and then I want to have you do one thing in this site, but continue on. I'm sorry.
Let's see, remember the last recession? Did the news do a good job of telling us what was going on before it happened? Nope. They were being lied to.
Yep.
Right? They didn't know what was going on. They were being told everything is hunky-dory. That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. We knew what was going on. I was in banking at the time, Perhaps, sorry, I was already out of banking, but
when you get done with that list, can you get rid of the search criteria and just look at all the banks and then sort them with the sort button on the right-hand side by troubled asset ratio? Do you know what I mean? I want to see, out of curiosity, the worst performing banks and what area those are in.
What is this?
Yep, right there. You should be able to sort in that area if you have nothing in the search bar. So see how that drop down area? There you go. There you go. Click on that and then go there, click it again.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's Nebraska.
Amazing.
100. Yeah, that bank is done. So is
if I lived those areas, that's what I would do. I would pull this tool up, and then I would just sort by that, and I would just start going down to see what's in my area.
Yep. Look at Monterey. Oh my gosh.
And then from here, y'all, you can put this information into, you can go into Real List. You can pull up everything in that area where that bank is, and then just run the raw list of every single thing that's in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. And once you have that in a CSV file, you can sort it by the owner name, and that bank section will pop up somewhere in that list in owner name. And then you know what bank is going under or what bank has got problems and which specific properties they have. Is that right, Gary? Am I connecting those dots right?
So let's go do this. So Kendra, how far are you from LaGrange, Georgia? Do you know where that is?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly how far I am from it, LaGrange. Not far though. I mean, it's not that far. I don't know the exact.
Let's go look at LaGrange, Georgia, and really flow. LaGrange, Georgia. Okay. And
it's only an hour.
Oh, cool. All right. And then let's look at people who have. Let's look at people that are upside down. See if anything pops up. That means their mortgage balance is greater than the equity in their property. There shouldn't be too many because everything's gone through the roof in the last couple of years. But nonetheless, let's try that first. Whoa. Well, Kendra, if I was you, I'd go down there like this week, because you got 512 properties just in LaGrange that are upside down. Okay.
Wow.
Yep. And you got a bank there that's in deep trouble. So you don't want to swagger down the street. You want to play it cool. But this would be like shooting turkeys in a barrel, But
okay, forgive me, I'm a little slow. So how would I correlate that with this particular bank, this information with the 500 and so some odd properties?
Yeah. Well, chances are they've got more properties that are in trouble that are not yet in REO status. They're in pre-foreclosure status.
Okay.
And the other thing too is with that kind of number like that, man, you've probably got other banks in that area. So you could do a Google search for banks in the area, then go back to the bank tracker website, and start typing in the name, and it'll fill it out for you, and you'll see the banks pop up underneath you, you know, and you can find the other banks that have a high troubled asset ratio.
And then with this really list, I would dump that whole however many that is, right into a CSV file, because you could sort it by owner contact name at that point. And then at that point, you can pull the exact properties also.
Okay.
Yep. So if you do, so remember the download sequences, you've got to first delete what's already up here, my leads, delete whatever, if there's anything there, just delete it, right? And come back here and do select all, okay? And if I did that now, it would add it to up here. So it just took it from 400 something to 900 something, but you don't want to mix and match those things. You want to keep unique files.
Okay.
But then you click on it, then you go through the download function right after that. You'll get yourself a file. And you can go right into the file, right on your computer, and it'll bring up an Excel spreadsheet, Kendra, and go to the name field. Here, let's just do that. So this is the one we just did for Melanie. Sorry, it's taking a while. Here it goes. Where did it go? Here it is. All right. All right. There it is. My computer does it, like it hides it from me, you know, playing with me.
Right.
Let me get rid of this over here. All right. So just so you know, everybody, the first set of columns, first name, last name, property address, says recipient address, that's the actual owner's information from here up to column F, right? From column G over, that's the subject property. So if you're looking at non-owner occupied, the subject property will always be different than the owner property. Everybody follow me on that?
Mm-hmm.
So first set of columns is the owner's information. Second set is the subject property that you're looking at in Really Flow. Okay. Now I wonder if we can, let's just do a sort here. We'll highlight that field and we'll do sort A to Z. And I'm going to mess this file up. So Melanie, you've already got the file, so I'm going to go ahead and mess this one up.
Wait, I don't have it. Did you email it to me?
Yep.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. Yep. Continue with the current selection. Let's just do that. Now let's expand it. I don't want to mess with. Okay. Now they're in alphabetical order by last name. So I don't know if there's any bank properties in here.
Can't you do like a control F and just run a search on that bank?
Yeah, but this is Melanie's file. It's not the one for LaGrange, you know?
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's okay. I was going to see if I see something jump out at me. Yeah, I'm going to, maybe there's something like Texas. No, there's nothing in there with Texas. Yeah, these, well, you know what? This search was ownership of 25 years or more.
Right. So we weren't looking for the.
So there's no way there's going to be banks in this one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Thought about that, but that's the step you would go through, you know.
Awesome.
Hey Gary, there's some of them that say government.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Let me go back here. Was government in the first column or the second column?
No, it's in L or M.
Oh, column L or M?
Look M and go down to line 478.
You have it right there. Just go down a little bit between individual and trust.
There, stop. Now it's towards the top. The fourth down, the third and the fourth down from the top. Go to the right.
456.
456 and 457.
Oh, yeah, what are those?
And then go to the right, Gary. You'll see on line M.
Keep going.
Yeah,
stop.
You open up that column.
Look how many trusts there are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting. Government, I wonder what that is. What if it's like a safe house? Like where they put people in a witness protection program, something like that?
Yeah.
Interesting. In any case, so guys, I used to spend hours and hours doing this stuff before, but I tell you what, it made me really smart. I could tell everybody everything about the properties, and you know, this is exactly the stuff we did. This is exactly what we did. Remember my 3-step formula for success? Anybody remember the 3-step? Remember what's the first thing in the formula for success? Begins with the E. And EDU. Education, number 1.
Education.
What's number 2?
Lead generate.
It begins with an I. INFO. Information. So
information.
Plus information plus action equals results. So we literally spent hours doing this stuff, but when we took action, we definitely got results, you know? So if you ever hear me, have you ever heard me talk about sending out postcards before?
Yes.
I would never do it. I mean, I might talk about it like it's something you can do, but I would never do it, you know? Not after knowing this kind of stuff. This kind of information, you know, you can still do postcards. I shouldn't, you know, please forgive me if I offend anybody. If postcards work for you, keep doing it. But if you're gonna do postcards, I would only send them with data that's been highly scrutinized like this, you know, specific criteria.
So Gary, can I ask you a question? Because I saved these leads from LaGrange, the 512 properties. So I'm downloading this and then putting it into an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then sort it by the name and see how many of those have the bank names in there.
Okay.
Now I gotta warn you, sometimes Kendra, the bigger banks have them in another name. They don't use the bank name. So once you take it back, use another name.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, the bigger banks, they don't actually use their own bank name to put on the county records. They use another entity. Sometimes it'll be like an asset manager, or I mean, it could be a.
What was the name of that one company that they did that was like Own Co, Winco, something like that? Remember that, Gary? Aquin. Remember that?
Aquin was
and what was Aquin? Yes, but backwards it's like new company or something like that.
Yeah, what they do is the banks have so many foreclosures that it's better for them to hand that off to a third party for processing and collecting. Like, you know, it's like credit cards. They'll turn that stuff over to a collection agency, you know? So banks are doing the same thing, except the government requires them to do certain things certain ways. And one of those things is they can't turn over these properties to a regular collection agency, because the collection agency is only there to collect the debt, the money. This bank now has what you and I would call an asset, a property. Guess what a property is to a bank? Is a property an asset or a liability?
It's a liability.
It's
the asset.
Yep. The loan is the asset to the bank and the property is a liability. So because it's a physical, tangible asset, it has to be maintained and managed and inspected and all these kind of things. So they have asset management companies springing up all over the place to do those things. And we usually get a ton of listings for them. Aquin and what's the one title company that also did REOs? In any case, I'm drawing a blank, but we were doing those things like it would create thousands of them. It was crazy. But the main thing is, back to Kendra, the local community banks almost always have it in their own name. The big banks generally use an asset manager. Small local community banks generally put them in their own name, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. But you can also tell, even if it's an asset manager name, it won't be like a person's name, it'll be a company name, and they'll have an address for them too. And I can show you how to get in contact with those people. The local banks are easy. The big banks are a pain in the neck, and you got to play the game. And
on like Scotsman or something like that, who the people are.
Yeah, you can go to Scotsman's Guide, and then it gives you banker contact information.
What's that called? Scotsman's Guide?
Scotsman's Guide. It's in the, it's in the.
Show her, Gary. Show her. We got
sure
on our member sources.
Yeah, there it is, Scotsman's Guide. Scotsman Guide.
Oh, okay.
Now, what I'll tell you is, it's as easy to find out. You know what I would do, guys? I would pull up the bank name and go into their phone number listings, like the contact information, and they will list all their departments and the phone numbers, and I would just find the REO department, you know? And sometimes it actually say REO, and sometimes it would say real estate owned, which is the words for REO, and sometimes it would say asset management, okay? But nonetheless, I would call them. Now if they're close by, guys, if this was a bank that was like right down the road, I'd go visit them. Kendra, I would tell you, I would go visit that bank, you know. And what you do is walk in for women, you know, something you feel like you feel businessy in your outfit, but not, you don't want to go and dress like you're dressed for a executive board meeting, you know,
Right.
just business casual. For men, it's easy because all we have is pants, shirts, and a tie. You know, women have a lot more choice in the matter, but what you feel comfortable in, that's the main thing. If you feel professional, and you know what that feels like when you walk into a room and people treat you with more respect, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yep. So, and what you want to say is this, well, first off, if they have one of those front reception desks with a receptionist there, go right past it. Don't stop there. Don't look at them, right? Because they'll stop you. If it's an older bank with a teller line and then the office is around the side, what you're looking for is the office that says either like branch manager or vice president or even president, okay? Sometimes you'll see something say, you know, community loan officer or something like that. That's the person you want, and you go right for the door. Now, if that person's not there or the door is shut, what I would do is I would not leave a business card. I would just come back another time. I learned that lesson. If you leave a business card, and as soon as they see you're a realtor, you've got a 1 in 100 chance of getting a call back. Okay. What you can do is if they're there, right, just leave a handwritten note. And you know, hi, I'm, you know, Kendra Dobbins, you know, 404, whatever your number is. Please call me at your earliest convenience, and then leave. Okay. And you probably will get a call back on that. But in most cases, you just want to come back. Now, when you speak to them, it's a very short script. In fact, it's in the training material. I wonder if it's in, let's see.
Well, he's looking for that. One of the tricks that I used to use also is if the guy's name is Tom or William or something like that, and they're not in there, I'm like, hey, is Tommy around? I will use a diminutive name for whatever. And then, you know, no, he's due back. He's back at lunch or whatever. And then that gives me when to come back. So I've used that.
Okay, that's good. Thanks.
Okay, here's this one's called working with banks. It's in the marketing tab, and so I'm going to see if I have the script right in the checklist. And usually I'll do that. Well, you guys are really going to make me earn my Fig Newtons tonight. I didn't get ice cream this week, and I said no, I'm gonna get Fig Newtons.
Fig Newtons are good too, though.
Oh, I love those things. Yep.
Me too.
I actually met somebody, Melly, that actually remembered the jingle that went with that.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, holy smokes. Okay, so Kendra, here it is for everybody. It's a number on the checklist for working with banks under number 12. Okay. There's the actual script.
Okay, great.
You know,
thank you.
Now, because you're in person, you want to right off the bat let them know you're a realtor. Hi, I'm Gary Wilson. I'm a realtor in the area, and I have clients interested in properties just like yours. I just want to sell one, so let's do one together. And when you like the results, then perhaps we can do more. And that's it. Now, I know some of you are thinking, holy smokes, well, that is really getting to the point, you know. In some cases, they're going to be like, whoa, let's slow down here. Let's take this one step at a time. And, but in a lot of cases, bankers are busy. And the reason I like community banks is the word community actually implies a lot of things. Legally, it implies things, right? Things that bank must do in the community. And one of those things is each branch is responsible for his or her own loan portfolio in that community. That's why they call it community lending, right? So they know what you're talking about. When you say properties like yours, if they question, they say what specifically you're referring to. Don't use the word foreclosure inside a bank lobby. They won't like you for that. Just say I'm referring to your troubled assets. Okay, then they'll know that's definitely what you're talking about. Okay, now if it's a bank that has 5 or 6 or 10 branches, there's a good chance that that department is somewhere else, and they'll say, you know what, we don't do that here. The main branch is where that person is. Great. Would you mind doing an introduction for me? And you know what's funny? I almost never got pushback on this. I got a lot of things like, we don't really have anything right now. I'm not sure. Can I get back to you? Blah, blah, blah. But one time I happened to have my list of clients with me. Timer
for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I always had like a portfolio with me. And what I would do is my buyers that were highlighted in yellow were active that day looking for properties. They had the money. They were pre-qualified. Had them all lined up. I actually had
How much time is left on the timer?
Someone's muted. Hang on, or not.
Alexa, set a 10-minute timer.
10 minutes. It's Brianna.
Oh, there we go. So in any case, what I would say is, I had the list with me. I said, the guy asked, he said, well, who is it you're referring to? Who are these clients? And I just happened to have it with us. So, well, these are the ones right here. And it was my printout and the names highlighted. And within 10 minutes, I was speaking to the attorney on the board who handled our foreclosures.
Awesome.
Yep. Purely accidental, but it taught me a lesson is always be prepared.
Right.
So, keep your stuff with you. In any case, in the beginning, I'll just kind of give you guys the background. I used that technique for me personally to get my own investments. And I would walk in with jeans and boots and a sweatshirt and whatever, because I was actively involved with my properties. And I hardly got anywhere. And I would even tell them, I'm paying cash. And look, here's my bank balance, But when I started going in as a realtor, serving the real estate agent role, serving other clients, and would wear like a suit jacket, not a tie, but business casual, right? I got far more favorable responses. Because what I found out is banks would rather deal with a professional who's going to deal with the end user. They don't want to deal with the end user. They already had the loan goes south on one person. They don't want to deal with that stuff, And that's what, because I always wondered, why won't they deal with me directly? It just baffled me, I did have success with that, but I had more success going in as a realtor. So, but in any case, that's an awesome technique. Actually, Gina came up with part of it on her own, the part about taking finding out what banks have foreclosures, finding out where they are, they go into really flow and looking for properties in that area, and then sorting the list. That's a brilliant idea, So thank you, Gina.
Yeah, that trick too. Thank you, Darlin. The other thing that I would, with the list of buyers, is I would keep the front page of any contracts that you write. I would redact out whatever information I was concerned with, and I would keep that stack with me. And if anyone ever said what buyers, I would literally pull out that stack of those front pages, and I would just rifle through it. These people that have, made these offers.
Yep.
And I would take that door knocking as well. I would, we've got active buyers. Here we go. They're writing offers. There's nothing out there. I would just, everything that you do, think of how you can leverage it for more listings. Everything you do.
Yep, absolutely. I thought I saw Naomi on, but now she disappeared. She had a question. Well, if anybody sees her, try to get in, let me know and I'll promote her. Okay, let me think here now. So we went over being strategic, thinking about the area and the demographics, and just got to really think through what type of criteria would make the most sense for where you are. Okay. using the bank tracker to figure out what banks have foreclosures. And I watch that stuff on a regular basis, and I'm telling you, those numbers are creeping up already. You know, they're already going up. So, I mean, Gina, you've seen it with me over a couple last month or two. Would you agree the number of banks with higher numbers are creeping up?
Yeah, so much so that I've started working with people that I'm coaching, and I'm telling them to tell their friends to put HomeSnap on their phones. And when they're out looking at stuff, and when they're out and about doing things, especially if you know Uber drivers or any kind of a driver at all, any kind of a delivery driver, to take a HomeSnap picture of any homes that the grass is really high, or it looks, you know, just like somebody can't take care of it, because then we can go through with that HomeSnap information that usually captures the address. And then we can skip trace individual stuff as well to try and see if those are people that also might be, you know, potential listings. Another one is going through abatement through the county city records to find the houses that are in abatement and to pull lists off those.
Yep. Yep. Hey, by the way, guys, back to the walkabout. That's the kind of thing you want to do on a regular basis. How many people, who here knows an agent who totally dominates a neighborhood? Like they own the neighborhood, been there for a decade. I'm willing to bet you they either did one or two things or both of them. They walked the neighborhood on a regular basis and they constantly send stuff out, you know? I'm not real big on mail, but it can be used as a supporting role. So in other words, the walkabout technique combines a little bit of circle prospecting with it. So every once in a while, you want to do the entire neighborhood, and the neighborhood should be somewhere between 200 and 300 homes. You can easily walk it in a weekend, usually in a day, you know, but maybe 2 half days. And then what I would do is this: instead of walking it like every week or every other week, I would only search for what actually changed in the last week. What went under contract, what sold, actually closed, and what came on the market, okay? And it might only be, you know, 10 properties or something. But what I would do is I would recreate that flyer, right? And then highlight the property, like, or circle it that you know, went on the market, went under contract, or went to closing. And then only hit the 25 homes around those homes. You follow what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So, yep. Circle prospecting combined with a different version of door knocking. And if you're consistent with that, you know, and it's okay to wear tennis shoes. Just make sure they're nice tennis shoes, and dress appropriately. And if it's wintertime and you're in Michigan, then go ahead and wear your boots. But I will tell you this: I don't care if it's sunny or cold. If you can give yourself permission to get out there and do this stuff, it is going to work. You might not get a listing the first week or the second week or not even the first month, but I promise you, when things get really hot and heavy in April, May, and June, those are the primary months, who's going to have front of mind presence? You guys will.
So
yep.
Gary, you said do the whole neighborhood once a month, and the 25 nearest homes to the changed things, that's still only in your walkabout neighborhood. You don't do that just anywhere in town?
Yeah, I'd only do because it takes a lot of time, Susan. So I'd actually, the entire neighborhood, I would only do that maybe like twice a year, sometimes quarterly. But then in the intervening time frame, I will only do the circle prospecting part. But instead of sending postcards, I always could go out and literally hand that flyer out. They're walking their dog, they're washing the car, they're raking leaves, and they would get to know me. And that in-person presence is invaluable. I mean, because I'm going to tell you, there's going to probably be at least a dozen agents doing the old circle prospecting, which is sending out the postcards, right? They're all going to look the same, you know, right? The same little postcard. And here you are showing up with an actual flyer. You took the time, you care enough to show up in person. That leaves an impression on people.
It does. Also, the easiest way to find out everything that's always going on new in the area is just to set yourself up on your MLS as if you were a buyer with whatever they call them, and they call them hot sheets in some area, but set up just like you're a buyer looking for a search and you want to see everything that goes on in that neighborhood or that zip code, and it'll just pop into your email automatically. You don't have to go searching for it.
Perfect. Yeah.
I have a question. This is Kay. I'm got on late. I just looked at, I haven't set all my clocks back for the time change. I just missed it. But anyway, my question is, how can we get access to the flyers that you were showing us?
I'm gonna have Beverly send them out tomorrow in the
Okay.
follow-up email. Yep.
And could she also send that the name of the lady, because I couldn't get it out of the chat, and to hear her link for the skip tracing?
Yes, I'll put that in there too. Yeah.
If she could put both those in one thing, that would help. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Okay, now somebody just made me think of something. What the heck was it? Let's see, flyers. Oh, sorry, Michael Dunlap. Thanks, Michael, for sharing. Has Michael Dunlap put in there a link for an FDIC website? Does everybody see that?
Yes, thank you very much.
I'm going to highlight it and then repost it just to be safe.
What do we do with an FDIC website link?
It says you can break down by asset type, single family, commercial, etc. Past due, non-accrual assets, or the potential short sale foreclosures. So they're going to get like a data file, Susan, if you can then sort and then look for these things. So past dues, obviously, they're the consumer's past due on the note, and you'll know that these are potential short sales.
Can Bev put that in the email too that goes out, please?
Yes. Let me.
Thank you, Michael. That's awesome. Thank you.
In fact, let me do this. I'm going to start the email now.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's it breaks down each of the different banks' information. So, just like similar to the bank tracker, but this is from the FDIC, and so if you have single family or if it's commercial, it'll break down if it's 30, 60, 90, or if it's more than that, if it's a non-accrual asset for them, then they're getting ready to foreclose on it, basically.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let me get Answer's link here.
What location is that? Like, or is that just in general? Like, I'm trying to download it right now from December, so I can just look at the report to see exactly what it consists of. But let me see. It's taking a while to download.
It's a mandatory quarterly report for all the banks.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's like,
does it come out like a lag time a month after the quarter ends?
Yeah, a little bit after the quarter ends. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Can I just say how much I love our group?
Yep.
Absolutely. I love our group.
We're cool.
but okay, so Gary, I'm not sure exactly like what I'm looking at. I just opened the very first one. That was a December from 2021. It says First Advantage Bank, right? St. Peter's. And then it goes across to the address, Salt Lick Road. But like it says off days of market, I guess. I don't know, 4. I don't know exactly what I am to do with this or what exactly this is, I guess. Because I came in late as well. So like, what do I do?
Well, a couple of things we were talking about is working with banks to get listings, banks that have properties in foreclosure and pre-foreclosure. And then also, it looks like on this, Michael, chime in if you want it. Seems like this report, I'm not looking at it now, also has individual consumer information, like you can see who's behind on the mortgage. Is that right?
That's not what I'm seeing.
Where's Michael's still here? Hang on one second.
Yeah, from what I've looked at from the past, I don't believe it has individual consumer information. What it has is a breakdown of an overall amount from the banks. So what I used to do, or what I've done in the past, is I looked at the past due and non-accrual assets, and it'll tell me if this bank has commercial or if it has residential or what type of foreclosures or potential foreclosures they're going to have. That's the report that I look at, but they break down all the different information for the banks, like non-accrual 1 to 4 family residential. You can see the general dollar amount of what they value it at. Yeah.
Naomi, if when you watch, if you'll get the email tomorrow from Beverly with the.
I watched the first part of the recording. Yeah.
You'll see. Probably it's been an hour, 40 minutes. Probably about an hour and 15 minutes in.
No, I think we're only 40 minutes in, right? Did we come in on at 1 today or 2?
We started at 2 Hawaii time.
Right. So
Hawaii doesn't. Hawaii doesn't go backwards in time.
You don't do anything.
It started at 1
o'clock. You lucky dogs.
Oh, so you started at 1 today. No wonder. I'm so sorry. Okay. I was in another Zoom meeting, and so I'm so sorry. So I was like getting 2 o'clock my time still yet, but you changed your time. So yeah, because it's only 2:20. It's 2:40 here. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't mean to disrupt the whole class. I am so sorry. But I do see right here, though. I went further down on the report, and it says past due 30 to 89 days. 1 through 4 family residential. So, but maybe perhaps when I open that up, it'll go into more of a detail of what's going on. So yes, I'm so sorry, guys.
No, don't worry about it. I never forget one time I was working with an office manager to teach at their office, and they were in Arizona. Arizona also doesn't do daylight savings.
Oh, they don't?
Yeah, no. And I'm talking to her and I'm saying, wait a minute, you're in West Coast, you're in Pacific time zone, right? Yes, I am. I said, great. Then here's your time. But she never told me where she was, right? I never knew that there was an Arizona. Finally, I said, wait a minute, where are you? She said, Arizona. I said, well, there you go. You need to understand that everybody else is thinking it's 1 hour and it's a different hour, So.
Oh my goodness. So it starts at 1 now instead of 2. I'm going to have to change that in my calendar. Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, so let's see here. We went over a flyer, went over the circle prospecting using Really Flow. We created a file there. We can keep going, guys. I can probably, it's 8:45, and I feel like we're on a roll here. But let me ask you guys. I mean, this is for you. It's your class. Show of hands. Do you feel like you've got something you can actually sink your teeth into and actually use, like literally starting today? Today or tomorrow?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because what I'm afraid to do is I don't want to give you like 5 things. I'd rather have you have like 1 thing to do and master that. And so the choices are, now I'm going to say this, but I'm going to qualify it. The choices are doing the data approach to it, where you gather data and you approach people with phone calls, right? Like data from Really Flow, and you get the phone number and call them. Or you can do the circle prospecting. My suggestion is you do both, but only start 1 first. Don't start 2 at the same time. Pick 1 and just go with it and set up a call with me. We can do a group call if you guys want. If like we do this with commercial, we get together every 2 weeks and we go over things. If you guys want to do like a mastermind or something and just focus on a specific subject, I'll be glad to help you do that, and I'll even participate. But what I'm getting at is it's really important to apply focus right now, because when the world's going crazy, somebody's going to keep a level head, and that's you. Okay, so be focused on 1 thing. Once you get that 1 thing up and running, then you can add the next thing, and the 2 just happen to be very complementary. Okay. Working with data online, phone calling people, sending them letters and booklets, that's 1 way. In person, doing the walkabout's another way. And the 2 can work well together. It's two different sets of data, usually anyway. The 3rd thing was the banks, and I'm going to suggest that you make the banks the 3rd thing. Okay, and it's not that I have anything against banks or don't want you to work with banks. It's just, from what I understand, and I used to be a banker, they're kind of holding off a little bit because the courts are still so backed up. It doesn't make sense for them to file cases right now. You follow me on that? Mm-hmm. They're not going to file cases. They don't got to wait 18 months. They're going to wait. So for that reason, I would probably make that 3rd. Now, there are always exceptions, like where Kendra is, LaGrange, Georgia. I mean, heck, if I was living down there, I'd drive the hour. I'd go out there and I'd do circle prospecting for those neighborhoods, and I'd hit that bank up too, and several banks. something, Kendra, something must have happened. I wonder if some industry left town or something. That's really unusual, you know, what we saw there. It could be a number of things. I don't know, but that looked a little unusual. So I would, you know what I would do, Kendra?
What's
Google the town name and see if you can see old newspaper articles. See if something pops up, some news story about that area where they closed a school down, or who knows what, hospital. I've seen that happen before, you know?
Okay.
Yep,
Did they get hit by a storm maybe?
Possibly. Yep. Yep.
I don't remember one, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yep. But I would really digest these three things, and then maybe have to replay this recording and take notes. But I'd say let's focus on that. And I know it's hard. That's why we call it it's hard work, because it is a seller's market, which means it's going to be harder to get listings. But it's what's necessary in the marketplace. And I'm telling you, once you start, life's going to be harder for a minute, then it's going to get easier, lots easier, right? It's easier to grow a business and grow a team if you want to do that by focusing on the listings. The buyers will come automatically, right? The buyers will come automatically.
Gary? Listings are only hard to get. Once you get them, they're a piece of cake. It's just, which is the exact opposite of buyers. Buyers are super easy to get, but not so easy to service.
Yep.
Agree. Yes.
Gary, whoops, sorry. Could I ask a quick question about the booklet campaign again?
Yes.
When you were talking about, you know, reaching out to the different associations, I get that aspect of it. What if I took your advice and went to a RIA a couple of weeks ago and had a, couple of investor opportunities come out of that. With those booklets that you have on the site, not the, pretty glossy ones that, you said we need to cite, but the other batch of booklets, are we permitted to share that information or pieces of that information with those investors that we met?
Yeah, let me make sure I know which ones you're talking about. So books, whoops, where'd I go? Are you talking about the premier books, the ones that I wrote?
I think so. Yes.
These you're allowed to download and then you can then give them, you can save it in Google Drive, on your Google Drive, give them a link. Or if you want to, you could send it to them in an email. You should be able to send, because these are all like 100 to 150 pages.
Yes.
You can probably get that in an email and it'll make it through the server software. But yes, now here's the way this works. Because they're on Amazon, and I went through a publisher, an editor publisher, Demi, and she worked with whoever it was, Kindle, Nook, I can't remember, but there's certain rules in place. And I'm not allowed to personally sell these. I have to use that site. This is my understanding. But because I always retained, and everything that I turned over, it's all copyright protected, but I retained the rights to the source material. This is considered source material. So I can give it to you to give to your clients. So that's a long version of saying everything here is intended for you to share with your clients. If you have clients interested in rentals or flipping or, property management or, wholesaling, absolutely say, I've got a book for you.
Okay.
And now the trick is, because the way we're doing it for free, it's not going to be on Kindle or Nook. That's the only downside of it. But I mean, they can get one for $10, either a printed version or one that they put online, that they read online. But this was just an easy way for you to get their email address and send them something of value and keep that relationship going.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, if everybody listening, if you weren't here before, one of the things I mentioned is if you don't already have a gig group that you're actively running, I strongly encourage you to join your local investor group. Generally, it's going to be a RIA. It'll be, Scottsdale RIA, Real Estate Investors of America, or, Las Vegas RIA, or San Antonio RIA, or Austin RIA. You usually meet once a month. They'll let you in for free once, and then you got to pay like $10 a month or something. But remember the kind of instruction I gave you early on is be careful about attracting the people who don't have any money and try to focus on the people that do have money. Like take your time, get to meet people, go to the booths. They're going to have vendors there, window people, flooring people, painters, what have you. Ask those guys, hey, who are the really good investors in the group? And they'll tell you, okay? Ask the vendors who are the really good investors in the group and they'll tell you. Then you make friends with those guys, okay? Because you can do a lot of charity work working with people that want to be investors and they never will be, you know? So in any case, that's probably a lot to digest for one night. Everybody okay? You guys okay?
Yes, thank
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If you want to next week, we're going to talk about buyers. We kind of sort of led into that tonight a little bit, talking about RIA. You want to stick with that agenda for next week? Like get real granular and get into the nitty gritty on, because you really need to know what buyers to work with. I mean, you got to be careful because they can run you ragged, right? And never buy a thing. But you can also be selective and use tools and strategies to be selective, okay? So let's stick with that agenda. And I'm not sure what's happening after that, the 28th. Is Laura? I think Laura's already gone. Let's see if we're going to play the cash flow game on the 20th. If not, or something else I had in mind. Oh, RPR. I thought that'd be a really cool tool for us to dig into.
Yeah.
I'll definitely need help with it because I'm the last person. It's been years since I used it. And then we'll do a checkup from we call it checkup from the neck up.
I use it a lot and I love it. It's one of my favorite tools.
Okay, would you mind on the 28th? You can give us a demonstration walking through how to use.
Well, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've learned through trial and error.
You know what the best way to learn something is?
Yeah.
Gina will tell you. What's the best way to learn something?
Teach it.
Teach it.
Sorry,
well,
I'm
not still
Gina,
taking courses, but
yeah. You're here by now. I'm christening you an expert.
Oh my gosh, we're in trouble.
Okay. Listen, guys, I'm going to get going here, but this was a great class. I actually feel sorry for the people that were here tonight. You know, I have every week people text me 5 minutes before, what's class tonight? And I don't have to, I can't do it. I'm trying to get ready for class. You know?
Yeah.
So it's really hard. I wish I could get to them all, but I can't. You know, but you know, just you know, the agendas generally they are always published, and we generally keep to them. If we have a change in schedule because of a guest speaker, we try to let everybody know as far in advance as we could. But spread the word. Tell your fellow team members and your guests. And remember, you can bring guests. You can bring guests to these classes are open to the public, and they're totally education based. There's nothing to buy or sell or any kind of thing like that. You know, so sound good?
Sounds good.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you all so much. I really enjoy these.
You're welcome.
Bye. Thanks, Gary.
Bye, everyone.
This is great.
Too.
Thank you.
Great info tonight, brother.
Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate it, Michael.
Real quick, what's AI mean?
Oh, I put it in there.
I didn't see it.
Artificial intelligence?
AI, yes. AI
Well,
tells you if a property is better to flip, to rent, or to do regular real estate with. That's what it did. It would analyze it.
Okay.
And what did it stand for, AI?
I don't know, make up something.
Yeah. Well, we used to call it AI meant artificial intelligence. It's basically using data and software to give you, like, it's saying we think this is what this means. That's what they're saying. But really, guys, you'll be able to tell us something is a good flip or a good rental just by running the numbers, you know. So, because think about it, how do they know if it's a good flip? They never looked at the inside of the house. You know what I mean? So that's why when we did the math on that, we thought, well, why would we pay for that when we need to actually see a property to determine if it's a good flip or not? And the rentals are easy because we get the rental data, right? So that was really the logic behind that. So.
And Gina, where did you say that we see that?
We don't get to see it anymore. They took it away from us.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Yep.
Are you in the car?
I am. We're driving. Hang on. We're actually ordering dinner. We're driving. We were in Jersey and we live in Florida. So we're going on our way home.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. I'll see you next week.
Aloha. Good night. Aloha.
Aloha.
Good night.